Kansas economy, I think, is probably as good as it can be at this point. The economy nationwide is in a problem right now. I think Kansas is going to be feeling more in the future, a negative in the future as far as the economy goes. I would disagree a little bit with what has been said before. I think we're feeling the pinch of the economic downturn already in the state of Kansas. We are experiencing now rising prices in the store. We're rising prices, fuel prices. We are experiencing a loss in some revenue. I think the governor has already indicated she is going to call for a 2% cut in state budgets next year. I think that it is a optimistic view. I think it will probably be greater than that. It is something that is a concern in this state and in every state at this time, with the stock market falling below 9,000, down below 9,000 today. It's going to really affect us all.
Compared to other states, it's very good. Compared to where Kansas should be vis-a-vis the way Kansas has been historically, I would rate it as poor right now. Kansas has overspent its revenues by $800 million in the last 2 years. This is primarily the reason why Kasia and I have been voting against some of the budget spending. We're overspending. We have a projected deficit in the state treasury of about $200 million at the end of the next fiscal year if our spending practices continue. We are feeling some of the effect of of what's happening on Wall Street. Our KPERS retirement plan is probably down in value about $800 million to $1 billion right now. I'm not too terribly concerned about that because I think that will level out, but it's cause for concern. The good thing about Kansas is we do pay our bills. The bad news is we're running out of the rainy day fund, and next year we're going to have to tighten up because no one, Republicans or Democrats in this election, are campaigning on a raise taxes platform.
I support legal immigration. Illegal immigration, I do not support. And I think the laws of the state of Kansas and this nation should be enforced. As far as access to health care, I think we as a nation have always tried to take care of people when they needed to be taken care of. Our hospitals do not turn away those people who need help, and I don't think they should. The problem of illegal immigration is going to have to be addressed because it is affecting the economy of this state and of every state, and it's affecting the health care system that we have in place now, and it must be addressed.
By executive order, the governor's made it clear that illegal aliens, undocumented workers, whatever you call it, are not entitled to benefits. In fact, the federal law prohibits that. But that's really not the issue. We have two classes of undocumented workers, and those who intentionally break the law. They have no intention of ever complying with anything even remotely similar to getting a pathway to citizenship. And then there are those who are here with good motives, who are trying to make a better life for their families. And we need to have the communities, the state, the nation help identify those. We've got a disconnect at the federal level where we have a disincentive for immigrants on the one hand through INS, and then we have the IRS who welcomes them with open arms as long as they file their I-9s and pay their taxes. We have a disconnect at the federal level that needs to change. We need to have a pathway to citizenship for those that do want to make a good start and to comply with our laws. I think we need to help them with that, but I think we need to enforce our federal laws against those who choose to break the law intentionally.
I think they should pursue it in any way that they can. I fully support any experimentation, whatever you want to call it, in biofuels. We have an abundance of wind energy in this state. I think it needs to be tapped, and it is, and it needs to continue to be. I think we have an abundance of natural gas that could be utilized better than it is. We need to do the things that we can do in this state and in this nation to make ourselves energy independent.
And what we should, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. People who just say drill, 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 we don't have that much oil. We've got to depend on alternative energy, and we need to tap those alternative sources.
We should continue to pursue them the way we've been pursuing them in terms of developing a comprehensive energy policy that includes all the components of a good energy plan, because we don't want to just suddenly shift and decide today that we're not going to use a certain source of power, and then we're going to put all our marbles in one basket for alternative energy, because that's years and years away and very expensive to develop right now. So you don't want, number one, you want to be able to flip the switch and have the lights come on, number one. And when you flip the lights on, you want to be able to afford to keep them on during the times that you want to keep them on. But we have a comprehensive energy bill that we tried to pass last year that had this last session that had a lot of different components in it, including net metering for solar, some incentives for wind. Wind continues to be, everybody thinks that wind is free. It is. It's getting the wind to the transmission lines and into the home that is terribly expensive. It's one of the most expensive forms of energy right now. Fortunately, we're getting some federal incentives and some state incentives to develop that, so it's like your Texas Instrument calculator. Once we get on top of it and develop it, it becomes cheaper and cheaper, and we can have that part of our base needs. Wind will never satisfy base load needs, because it's only in Kansas going to be reliable about 33% of the time. Is it a supplemental energy source like solar? Yes, it is, and we need to fully develop it, and the legislature is doing that.